Good afternoon. Thanks for joining us across the fence. I'm Fran Stoddard. There are 4 words that guide the 4-H program: head, heart, hands, and health. From the organization's early days as an after-school tomato club to today's diverse programs that include topics like climate change and robotics, the one constant in 4-H has been its volunteers. In Vermont, over 500 men and women volunteer their time to host clubs, run competitions, and provide opportunities for young people to learn by doing. One of those Vermont volunteers is Mary Fay. This year marks Mary's 50th year as the volunteer leader of Whispering Pines Club in Westford. Across the Fence spoke with Mary about her half-century of dedication to Vermont 4-H.
I grew up with 10 siblings, so I was one of the Blades kids. And in 4-H, I was somebody. I was a leader. I helped other people. I was an officer in the club. I was somebody other than just one of the Blades kids.
And when did you start volunteering for 4-H?
Right after I aged out. I had been in teen leadership roles in the club, so being a leader role didn't change that much. 4-H was mostly club stuff. Now we have the spin programs and the after-school programs, and they're all wonderful, and kids are learning and kids are doing things and having opportunities, but there was a lot more on the clubs back then.
What's kept you involved for 50 years, Mary?
The kids and seeing them set goals, seeing them meet goals, seeing them participate, seeing them have all these opportunities. It's the kids.
Have you seen a change where you started with a youngster and they aged out like you did?
Keith, I've had second generations in my club. And yes, little kids have come in and they've gone all the way through, and I still run into some. And it's funny because at our county quiz bowl 4 or 5 years ago, we invited the whole state, and this girl from Rutland County, the mom, walked up to me and said, "Mary, do you remember me?" And I looked hard at her and I said, "Yes." And I gave her name, and she was on our winning quiz bowl team that I coached I don't know how many years ago, but she was floored.
The 4-H motto is to make the best better, as you know. How do you do that?
I think we have a great program, but it can always get better. I do webinars, I go to trainings. You learn how to do things differently and in new ways. You know, as long as the kids are learning and getting stuff out of it, that keeps it going. We have a great program, but it can always be better.
Good job.
What would you say to someone who's thinking, maybe I want to be a 4-H volunteer?
Go talk to a leader, attend one of their meetings, see what they do, attend one of the events or contests or whatever, and see what's happening in 4-H. But just get a feel for it and then contact your 4-H educator in your county and go from there. We welcome more leaders.
50 years of memories. What stands out, Mary?
There's a lot of things. I know in 1976, my sister and a friend and I started the State 4-H Horse Show, just the 3 of us. That same year, I heard about Kentucky, or it wasn't Kentucky then, it was Harrisburg, Pennsylvania, but I learned about a national competition, and I pushed hard and went to the director of extension and begged and pleaded and got us able to go. So starting those things, but I think that the greatest accomplishment is seeing kids set their goals and reach them, and just with these national competitions, and it's not just about the competitions. These kids are friends. I have 3 friends that I did a lot in 4-H with over 50 years ago. They weren't in the horse program, they were in other parts of 4-H. And the 3 of us still get together more than once every year, and we still get together with our leader. So those lifelong friendships are just amazing. I told you in the beginning, 4-H made me somebody, and I want all these other kids to feel like they're somebody.
If you'd like to become a 4-H volunteer, contact the State 4-H office via their website or call 802-651-8343. That's 802-651-8343. 8343. And a final postscript. When you call the 4-H state office, it's likely Mary will be on the other end of the line. She's been working for UVM Extension for the past 16 years. Mary's commitment to Vermont 4-H inspired us to look back through our archives to a story we did several years ago that featured a number of 4-H volunteers. In 4-H clubs or programs, it's the kids who pick the topics, but it's the volunteers who make it happen. We begin with 4-H educator Rose Garitano.
Volunteers help in a number of ways. Some run 4-H clubs, the traditional 4-H clubs and project groups within those clubs, and others will just help facilitate a short-term special interest program. And in those situations, the volunteers work with youth, and the topics can range from STEM topics like robotics, exploring drones, forensics, to humanities and the arts or outdoor recreation skills. It goes well beyond the typical ag-related skills that most people think of when they think of 4-H.
What drew you to become a volunteer?
I had been dabbling with raising chickens, and my daughter always had friends over, so it seemed like the kids were always really interested in seeing what was going on with the chickens. So I thought, you know what, at that point I thought I'd like to open this up a little bit more formally and then even make it bigger, and so that's what we did. It was in 2010.
One of the things that really did it was when we started to see some of the opportunities that 4-H provided to the kids, we were kind of like all on board on that. So both my wife and myself became leaders. And really one of the reasons why we did that was with all the opportunities that 4-H offered, we wanted to make sure we allowed the kids that were in that club all the opportunity that they could to get involved in all of the different projects that they had. And both of our daughters had joined 4-H, so it was a great way to connect with our own kids, connect with the other kids, and really open it up to all of them. It's a lot of fun for the leaders as well, and a big learning experience for us too. I mean, I've learned a ton of stuff about horses, poultry, archery. You know, I've met dozens of great community members, and just getting involved with different fundraising activities. Our club does a lot of work with the American Cancer Society. You know, one of our big events we do every year is the Horses for Hope, where and it's grown to hundreds of people come to the barn and look at the horses that are dressed up in costume, and they do pony rides and stuff like that, and we raise a lot of money. But also just we go and play games with people at assisted living homes and do some dinners and cooking with them and that sort of thing.
Which are the longest?
Well, it's very fun. We have a very good time, and I like to be an adult in these kids' lives that's not, necessarily a parent-child dynamic. I'm kind of like another adult in their life, and it's really nice to give people a venue to get their hands dirty and to learn by doing. And I know that for me, that's the best way to learn, and I really enjoy supporting other people having opportunities to learn by doing.
And again, greenish blue feet.
Our curriculum has been poultry for the most part. That's the common theme throughout all the years. And each year we also do additional projects. So the poultry piece, we've done iterations of incubating, embryology. We raise meat birds, we've raised show birds, we've gone to poultry shows, and just had a lot of fun curating a number of different types of breeds of chickens that lay different color eggs and caring for the chickens. So that's that part of it, but I've also had subgroups in the overarching club. So we've had a construction subgroup. This year we have welding and fiber and spinning, and we've done an international cuisine subgroup. Last year we had mentors, and the elders in the club took the littles under their wing and really did some nice leadership development.
It was an after-school program, so upper to middle elementary school students would meet with me once a week, and I chose food, shockingly, as a topic to cover, and we talked about food from the lenses of plants to different types of food, to where our food comes from. They got to make ice cream one week, they got to make little pizzas one week, so just trying to connect kids with food and give them a better idea of when they eat something or where they see a plant, what goes into growing that plant and getting the food that they eat.
What would you say to somebody to encourage them to become a 4-H volunteer?
Well, first of all, they ask themselves if they're passionate about a particular field. And in my case, agriculture was the big thing, but also I come from a family of heavy agriculture people and heavier craftsmanship people. So I've had that influence on both sides, and it's nice to be able to work with your hands and make something new or better. That's the motto, is make the best better. So I think if a person's passionate about those things, then and they want to share it with younger people, then becoming a 4-H leader is a great way to contribute to their community and also grow really competent young people into adults, and also grow those young adults' confidence in themselves and their own skills.
I would say that it's really probably one of the best ways you can use your time. You know, the way I kind of look at it is you kind of plant these little seeds of opportunity in all these kids, and you just step back and they just take off. It's so exciting to see the kids grow in that way. And really, you can put as much into it as you have available. So if you're a person who has just a little bit of time, or maybe has some, you know, experience with certain topics, like if you're a baker or you're you work in you do archery or something like that, you can work just for a limited amount of time on certain projects with the clubs. Or if you have a lot of other resources and time, you can spend, you know, a lot more time on it. And, you know, I think the leaders and the kids appreciate both sides of that, you know. So whether you're spending a lot of time or a little time, so it really gives you the flexibility on that side too.
I mean, I guess I would just ask them how important community is to them and being a part of that community. I think that any age of kid in the community is going to be the future of that community. And so whatever it is that you love doing, there's a way to share that with kids, and that 4-H is a great way to share that with kids.
Thanks to all the volunteers, and once again, thank you for joining us across the fence. I'm Fran Stoddard. Stay well.